And welcome to the Daily Autism Radio Show. This obviously is the radio version of dailyautism.com, which is our online channel for all things autism, and really specifically parents who have autistic kids. You can find us at dailyautism.com, and of course links there to all of our social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and whatever else we do, because we do other stuff too. So whatever else we do. Specifically, I'm probably talking about our sensory studio, which is now open in Seminole, Florida. It is called My Sensory Studio. Actually, we were just there last night showing a family the studio, and she brought her kids, and it never fails. And this is what we've said the whole time since we've opened this. Kids come and they don't want to leave, and that's how you know you got something cool.
Yeah, the little girl said, I want to stay here forever.
Forever. Yeah, forever, she said. To stay here forever. And I'm like, ooh, I didn't pack any clothes. I don't think we can stay here forever. But
yeah, it's very unique because it's one family at a time.
A very, what we call a private play experience.
Yes.
So there's no, other people coming in, and
no triggers, no distractions.
Yeah.
No.
Even employees, when we've been in other places and kind of, I call them the big box gyms, who have like loud ringtones and stuff on their phones, or dropping things, or just groups of people yelling and screaming. It's, and again, this is stuff that doesn't really bother typical kids. And that's the whole point, right? Like it's mainstream and it's fine. But when you talk about kids on the spectrum, on the autism spectrum, it's much different, and those things can really get in the way. And really, I mean, the idea there is that, those things can ruin an experience. And
yes.
So you don't want to go somewhere and you're paying money and you're taking the time to go, and you don't want to have, more stress than what it would be just to stay home. Because a lot of times for us and a lot of families we've talked to, they go out, they venture out with the kids, and the next thing you know, it's like, why are we here? Why did we do this?
Yeah.
It's not this. It's
immediate regret.
Yeah, it's like, it's not good for your kid. It's not good for us. Nobody's having a good time, and and these kids, you don't want to put them out in a tough spot, where it just seems like either a continuing meltdown or meltdown after meltdown after meltdown. And so that's what we tried to avoid with My Sensory Studio, is just, hey, it's private. You're not going to have any surprises, but it's also 1,000 square feet of like the ultimate and cool sensory equipment. So
yes, Cal has developmentally made like leaps since he's been going here, and now he can do the zip line by himself. He's climbing to the top of the rock wall. He's kicking balls. Like, he's running all over the place, having a great time.
Yeah, it is when you say that. It's just to hear it, it's like, wow, yeah, he is actually doing all of that stuff.
He is.
Because 3 months ago, he wasn't doing any of that stuff. No. He was actually extremely intimidated by the zip line.
Oh, yeah.
Extremely intimidated. And that was kind of something for me, is like, maybe, by the time he's, I don't know, however many years down the road, I would think, maybe he'll do that. Now he gets up by himself. It's a lot of risk taking. That's what I've learned from that place. It's taught him a lot of risk taking, like calculated risks.
Yeah.
Because, there's like mats and there's a lot of safety measures there, but you still, in your mind, you're like, should I try this? Like, I think I'll be okay if I don't do good, or if I fall, or if I don't make it, but still, should I try? And he would think about it, and then gradually he just didn't think about it, and he would take the risk. And so it's just cool from so many levels, emotionally, physically. It's great for the parents. I mean, that's what I've said a whole time about that place. Like, half of it's for the kids, and the other half's for the parents, to see the kids have fun and develop and learn risk-taking and build confidence. I mean, that's nothing but straight 100% old school confidence. To climb a ladder, turn around, get on that zip line, trust to hold yourself with your strength, kick off and go all the way, and then crash into the landing area. That's 100% old school confidence. That's all that is right there.
Oh, yeah. He's getting brave, and he's getting confident, and he's getting strong. And now when he hears strong, he flexes his muscles.
He does do that. He does. It's funny. Like, we've taken so many videos of him there. And again, you can see them all on dailyautism.com. But I guess we'll just naturally go, Cal, you're getting so strong. And he'll flex. Yeah. And it's like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, but he's there's even an area where he kind of like balances on as he's walking. It's around the crash mat to the zip line. And a lot of autistic people have weak cores. Mm-hmm. And that's a hard thing to work, especially if you're not getting physical therapy. Yeah. So he's working it. I mean, he's getting stronger and definitely working his muscles.
He is. And I noticed actually the other day, getting in and out of the pool, at our house, he's much more agile doing it. It used to be he used to kind of like get out on his side and have to put his leg out of the pool and sort of roll. It's much quicker now.
Good.
And, that's just the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, he's developing, different muscles and different strategies. Like his body's just learning. He's just learning.
Yeah.
And so it's really good. I want to get to his latest experience with the dentist, because we've done radio shows here before where the dental experience was like, okay, maybe this is the last time we'll go to the dentist ever. But we've also had some positive developments there. So I just want to share with people some ideas about young kids on the autism spectrum and going to the dentist, because that was certainly a step in the right direction. Again, another thing that we were like, I don't know if this is ever going to be worth it again. Like, this is crazy. But I wanted to talk real quick about this. Came out yesterday, a new law here in Florida, and I thought this was really good. But now going on a waiver system are free swim lessons across the state of Florida. Now, there are some qualifications. It's not just anybody, but I can tell you, drowning is the #1 cause of death among autistic kids. Florida leads the way in childhood drownings. And this is just something that obviously geographically, because of where we are, I mean, the Gulf, intercoastals, retention ponds, canals, lakes, ponds, pools. Like every other house has a pool.
Yeah.
And in some neighborhoods, every house has a pool. So it's just a massive danger. And these kids obviously drawn to water. Part of the elopement aspect is just these kids, they seek water. I mean, they're getting their regulation and input, sensory input through water. So it's funny. I was speaking in front of a council about a month ago, the Barrier Island Government Council. I said, water, it's the best friend and it's the worst enemy, because when you're supervised around water, when the child's supervised, like most of the kids are so happy around water. And you're so happy to see them happy.
Oh, yeah.
And they're getting all of that sensory, right? And they're getting exercise and sunlight and all the stuff. So it's like the best friend. So you're like, you see your kid and so happy. Then you think to yourself, at least I do, I'm like, well, that's also the worst enemy. Because God forbid if they're able to get out, elope, take off, whatever, and find water, this could be a very different experience.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so just to be able to see your child so happy in one environment, but also knowing that environment is also so terribly dangerous. It's a very conflicting feeling, but they've passed this law. And so now they put millions and millions of dollars in this fund, and the governor signed it this past week. And so basically, there's going to be certain waivers where if you go and get swim lessons, that it will be covered by this waiver system. Think of it like a scholarship. So you'll go, you'll get the service, and then the service will be paid by this fund. Now there are some qualifiers. It's 4 or under, and I think your income has to be no more than 200% of the poverty line. So whatever the poverty line is now, I don't know it off the top of my head, but you can basically be double that number, and then you would qualify. And then I did some other digging, and yes, special needs kids also apply. You just have to meet the other qualifications. So poverty line qualification, 200%, and under 4. And it can be for multiple siblings. So if you have 2 or 3 kids, we know a lot of families where it's like, there's 3 kids, 1 special needs, 2 aren't, but they could all get swimming lessons together.
Yeah, so this is not just special needs.
It's not just special needs, but special needs apply. So if you find a service, and there are services that will teach swimming to special needs kids, they can get the fund through this program. So it's something you got to look up. It's a state law, but you look up through the county how they're going to do it. But I think it's important to mention. Here we are. Getting into pool season, obviously, beach season, and all of that stuff. And we say it year after year, time after time. I mean, it's like one of the best things we did was to get him used to water, comfortable with water. And it's not just swimming. They teach you how to also get to a wall and hold yourself up. And they also teach you how to get out of a pool.
Yeah.
Like those are, it's not just how to swim. It's also how to act in a pool.
Yeah. Monkey on the wall. Which means they can climb on the wall to get to where they need to get, the stairs.
To get out.
Or to hang on.
Yeah. So you're right. It's not just about the swimming. It's like the exit strategy. You know, like how do you get out? Because there's a lot of things. Sometimes you plan to get in a pool and you need to swim, but sometimes you accidentally fall in water. Like it's an accident.
Yeah.
And you're not planning on swimming and you have clothes on. Well, if you have a bunch of clothes on, it's very hard to swim.
Yeah.
So you have to be taught how to get to a wall, how to get out of a pool, and so it's just a lot of things. But it's just so important. And we've talked to so many parents whose kids are, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and they're like, yeah, we never did the swimming lessons thing. We got to do it. We got to do it. And I just am, I get up in the morning and I see too many news stories and read too many, and I'm just like, oh no. I'm so glad that we went down that road and, got that done. And it's funny because when we were doing the swim lessons, like we would both be just staring at him out the window because it was almost like,
as he was like progressing.
yeah,
Yes.
but it was almost like nervous, like, because I mean, obviously the swim instructor knows exactly what she was doing. I mean, this is what she does, but you couldn't help but still get nervous to watch. And remember the first day, she's like, oh, come watch this.
Yeah.
And she like pushed him off, and then he went under and got something on the pool floor.
Yes, it's going to be really interesting to see him swim this summer because last summer he figured out how to swim.
Yeah.
He was taught how to swim, and that's like his 4th year of having swim lessons. So now he still wears a floaty. Like no one's in the pool right now except him because it's too cold, but he wears a floaty. So when everyone starts getting in the pool, we'll take his floaty off and he's going to swim. And now with all that strong body that he's building from My Sensory Studio, he's going to be great swimming.
Yeah. It's
and then it's going to be like, do we put the floaty on? I think we have to put the floaty on still when he is getting tired. You know what I mean? I think that needs to go into effect still this summer, but maybe next summer it's no floaty at all.
This will be the last. My prediction is this will be the last pool season with a floaty. I don't think he's going to let us do it, which is a great problem, right? That's good.
What do you mean? Put it back on him?
Yeah, I think this will be the last season where it's like, okay, like Cal, we've been in the
pool for 2 hours now.
2 hours.
You're tired.
Let's put the floaty on so you can rest. I think he'll do that this season. I think moving forward, this will be it. We won't be able to pull this off. After this season, which is a good
and
thing.
The floaty that I found is from Amazon, and it goes up to 70 pounds, and it's a puddle jumper.
Well, he's getting there.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
I mean, so he's even getting to the point where he can't wear that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess for bigger kids, you can have a life jacket, but
yeah, there are some bathing suits that have
built-ins.
They don't keep you afloat, but it makes it easier to swim.
Yeah,
it kind of has these like poofy pouches on the sides.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so it makes it easier to swim. That might be something. But at the end of the day, too, we have to tell ourselves, at least I tell myself, it's like you can't always find ways to make it easier for him. At some point, you do have to say, okay, like, mom and dad aren't going to be here forever. So you know what I mean?
I think he's going to be swimming really good this summer.
Yeah. Well,
because I was impressed last year. Like you said, he was going under, touching the bottom of the pool.
She brought these toys that you throw in and they immediately sink. And she's like, watch this. I'll throw him in and he's going to get him. And I'm like, he's going to get him.
You were like ready to have a heart attack.
I'm like, and he jumped in and went all the way to the bottom, got it, picked it up and came back out. And I truly was I couldn't believe what I saw. I honestly, and I give her all the credit, the swim instructor. I mean, that's incredible progress. And, this time last year or the year before that happened, I think she would get to the step and she would sort of like fling him towards the step and he would have 2 seconds to get to the step before he would start sinking.
Right.
I mean, it was very scary,
Yeah.
And for a season, to turn into that underwater, I mean, that's, and I think part of it too, I mean, our other kids are very active, athletic. And so they love to swim. So he's also around that. He sees it.
Yeah.
And I think that also goes back to confidence. He's watching these other kids perform doing that stuff. So I think it's part of like, okay, I think I can do it. I see my brothers and sisters do it. So I think that helps too.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be jumping in this year.
Yeah.
Like full on jumping in. And it's still scary. I mean, he's been getting swim lessons for 4 years and he knows how to swim now. But because he gets tired or will get tired, I mean, it's going to be hard to keep him out of the deep end.
Well, our
eyes are going to be on him like a hawk.
I don't know if you remember, but last year the kids swam with him. He did deep end all the way to the shallow.
I know.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
I mean,
know.
All of it's terrifying.
There were 7 people in the pool, including him, and it was terrifying. I mean, it's like absolutely nothing could have gone wrong. He would have been fine, but it still was.
I know. Like our eyes are seriously going to be on him this summer. Like.
Yeah, but you're right. It's
you have to let him go though. He knows.
I know. I was talking with a buddy the other day, and we were talking about things we do for the safety and this and that. And he said, at some point, His son's on the spectrum, but he's older. He's a young adult, really. And he said, at some point you have to say, what does the real world look like? And you have to get them ready for that.
Yeah.
And it's so true. It's so true. Like you have to balance like how to baby step things to saying, okay, but there's still a step, even though it's a baby step. Like we can't live here forever. We can't be in this state forever.
Right.
We have to get you to another level. It's hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah.
Because you just get so comfortable with like, okay, everything's fine. We're good here. If it all stays like this, we're good. I mean, I've told myself that a million times. Okay, if it just stays like this, I'm fine.
Yeah. But
then it's like, yeah, but I said that when he was 4. And it's like, do you want it to be like this when he's 14?
Yeah, I know.
It's just,
I think it's just hard when you're constantly like, protect, you know?
It is.
And then it's like, okay, you have to just let him jump,
Yeah. It's yeah, it's just even talking about it. It's like, oh man, like this is just, it's so much mental training for the parents.
Yeah.
Like every book I've ever read, audiobook I've ever listened to about, whatever the subtitles are, confidence and training and, all the stuff, all the words. I'm like, yeah, or you could read all those books or your child could get diagnosed with autism. And basically you're really going to see what your mind is made of.
Yeah.
And your body a lot physically too. It's very challenging, without a doubt.
Well, go ahead.
No, sorry.
No, our kids, like, they do cannonballs, Like, he tells the kids to do cannonballs.
Yeah, now he's going to be doing it.
Now he's going to be doing it. But that's, like, scary to think of him doing a cannonball.
Yeah.
Like, you have to jump out far enough. You know what I mean?
That's a cool memory, though, because he would come out there, and he's sort of like the director of everything, right? He needs to kind of tell you what's going on, and then he loves to see it actually happening. And so he would love, Mommy, now you cannonball. Daddy, you cannonball. And whatever, all the other kids. And then he would say, everybody cannonball. And I mean, talk about exhausting. I mean, you're on like your 6th cannonball in 10 minutes. It's like, oh my God, I don't know if I can come back up from the bottom of the pool the next cannonball.
Oh my God.
And he gets so happy. But I think you're right. I think this season, it's going to be like, I think he's going to cannonball.
I know, and that's scary.
Well, it is, but
then it's like, okay, you can't dive. Like our pool is not a pool you can dive in. Then you have to start thinking about that too.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that. That's the now you're doing things. Where
I
it's
know.
like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to do it. But again, it goes back to you have to get them ready for the next year of life, the next phase of life. What does it look like? And I mean, okay, let's take autism out of it. Is it safe? Is it smart to have a child that can't swim? Well, the answer is no.
Yeah.
That's a basic function that unfortunately we're not born like, we're not dolphins, so we're not born with the ability to swim, but we're born with the ability to understand, to learn how to do it. But obviously it's our caregiver's responsibility to put that into place.
Right.
And so, I think
they're not going to ask for swim lessons.
No. And I mean, look at the data, look at the research. Look, I mean, and because we do all this media around the spectrum and everything, so I get sent a lot of things. But that's also why I try to articulate it and get it out there and post these facts about water safety and the water hazards and things you can do. And, that's why I wanted to start the show off with this new policy about, getting people swim lessons. And, some people will say, well, it's only 200% of the poverty line to get the free swim lessons. Yes, well, a lot of lower income people don't have access to this type of stuff. So that's why it has to be delegated to people in that current situation. And so, but at the end of the day, we're still talking about it. So if you have the ability to pay for it, you should get it. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's necessary.
It's so necessary. And cross, that's the thing. You might have the ability to cross the number one danger with these kids off the list. To me, that's like, wow. So I teach my child to swim, and you're telling me I've eliminated the number one cause of death with kids who have autism? That is like,
yeah. That's a good way to think of it.
Yeah. Could you imagine like the number one killer? If you could take a pill and it was the number one killer of just adults, I think it's heart disease. And they'd say, okay, well, you won't have heart disease anymore. You're good. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So you're basically kind of doing, the same thing. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And we've got videos about it, dailyautism.com, on all of our social channels. So feel free to check that out if you need more information. But again, a quick Google search will give you all the details on the new law signed by the governor and about to be enacted at dailyautism.com. Of course, our email there, all of our contact information if you want to reach out for any reason whatsoever. We love hearing from people. Real quick, I touched on his trip to the dentist late last week, and this was, something that we've had terrible luck in the past. Not even sure if it was really worth going. A lot of people, families, are able to go to the dentist, but it's because the children are being sedated.
Right.
You hear a lot of that. Actually, there's entire dental offices that are, the sedation is, that's their strategy. We'll only do this if you allow us to sedate your kids. I actually saw a woman on YouTube the other day, and she's like, well, I stopped going to my dentist because they said they would only treat him if they could sedate him. And she goes, and I don't want him sedated. So she had to leave the dentist office.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, if your child needs any work done, if he needed work done, I'm sure he would have to be sedated.
Yeah, I don't know if this was a regular visit or what, but the dentist said, "Hey, sedation only," and the mom was like, "No sedation," and so, she's like, "I can't be the patient anymore." But that's
right.
Yeah, probably if it's funny, like back in the day, like they didn't have the gas and stuff like that for the they would just put like 5 shots in our mouth.
Yeah,
and then they would do the work.
Right.
But even that isn't going to fly.
No. Yeah, so this is probably his 4th time at the dentist. Like the first time it's like, okay, he's 2, I'm taking him to the dentist. And this is before really autism, so they just do a quick check,
Yeah.
Which at 2 years old, do you really need to go to the dentist?
Well, the dentist says yes.
Yes, but so I just did the regular routine. The second time is when autism was like full on. We knew. I took his therapist with us. They couldn't even get a toothbrush in his mouth. They couldn't even open his mouth. He's rolling all over the room, meltdown after meltdown. That was ridiculous.
I think that was the one when you told me about that. I think you were sort of like, I don't know if I'll ever do that again.
And I was told that they were good with autism, and they were not good with autism.
Well, that's the other, part of this, but not a part of this, is that a lot of companies now are just saying that. Are just saying, yes, we understand autism. Well, what they're really saying is, hey, we're patient people. But that's not understanding what
it was not understanding. The third time they did understand autism, they were doing baby steps. They were able to do a little bit. Still a little bit of a meltdown. This time was like full on, and this is what I'm saying, developmentally he's changing. Like I've talked about before, he also has global developmental delay. He's 6, but he was at a 3-year-old stage for a long time. Now he's at a 4-year-old stage. He's understanding a lot better. So I showed him videos. We talked about the dentist. He walked in, did such a good job sat there with me. I asked for a private room because now I know like that this is what you can ask for, a private room. If your dentist office understands autism, they should have a private room. So he went in there and he let him do everything.
You have to ask for it. Even if you say my child has autism, they're not going to say, do you want a private room? Like you still have to ask.
Well, I actually called and asked, and they have different people that answer the phone, obviously.
Yeah.
And she acted like it was a big deal. And like, first we're going to go in this big room, and then if you need to go to the private room. When I got there, then they asked me. It was a totally different person. And they asked me, do you want a private room?
Yeah. Yeah, it's you learn along the way. And I was even thinking about the private room thing. Parents should ask for that wherever you're going and whatever you're doing. It could be a doctor's appointment. It could be an eye exam. Well, I guess that's always a private room. But anything, like if there's an opportunity, like just ask. Just makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
Do you have a private room?
So this time, the guy explained everything to him. They fully understood autism and work with autistic kids. So the only thing about the private room is they don't have like the real buzzer toothbrush, all the materials.
Yeah.
And you could hear kids screaming in the big room. And Cal was like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, somebody's not happy right now."
Yeah,
so I'm glad he wasn't in the big room.
That's bad for business no matter what you're doing. So it's not just that. I don't care where you go, and if you're trying to get something done and there's people screaming, that's bad. That's bad that's not the doctor. That's bad luck.
Right.
You're there and people are screaming.
So they used a regular
you
toothbrush.
could go to McDonald's, and if people are screaming as they're eating their food, it's just you just want to leave. I mean, that's a tough spot to be in, no matter what.
So they did. They brushed his teeth with a regular toothbrush. They were able to floss for the first time ever.
That's pretty impressive.
Then the dentist looked at all his teeth, which was also very good. And then they were able to do X-rays for the first time.
Yeah, even more impressive.
Yeah,
to do all that.
So,
but the floss, just with the sensory thing and getting in there, and sometimes if you don't floss right, it can hurt your gums a little bit, and so sensory stuff. It's great. I mean, that's great that
they did a lot, and now he knows where it's located, so he keeps asking to go to the dentist.
He wants to go back. Yeah, this is.
I'm like in 6 months. This
is the catch-22. If you have autistic kids, you're probably listening, smiling, and nodding your head. Yeah, now he wants to go back all the time, because it's one of those things where it's like. Now it's in his memory. It's part of the progression, and he wants to go back. He's having visions of it. He wants to go experience it again, and. I mean, we took him, so we got to understand it, right? We took him to the dentist. That's why it's like, people are like, do you guys go on vacation? It's like, no, I mean, it's hard to imagine being able to do that. And then I think, well, one day we will, right? That's a goal. But what if he doesn't want to leave? I mean, where are we going to be? It's like,
yeah.
It's, or obviously the flip side is you get there and he's like, and he doesn't want to be there. He wants to leave. So,
well, that's the real problem. And going into this dentist appointment, I told you before we left, like I was anxious about going, and then you were just like, if it's hard, just leave.
Well, I do say that. I'm one of these people where it's like, I don't want to push hard through a situation because, he's not 12 or 13. Yeah. I want to get to the situation. I want to see what we've got. If it's undeniable that it's not going to work out, just why?
Right.
Why at this age? Because again, developmentally, we're talking 3.5, 4, 4.5, it's somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I mean, any of our other kids, if they were 3.5, 4 years old and we got to a place and it just wasn't, we're out of there. I mean, what do we do? Why? I remember our oldest son, Tyler. Remember his soccer picture day?
Yes.
For whatever reason. And he's not even like this kind of kid. That was like, I still call that his worst day on earth.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. He's how old was he? 4?
He was 3.
3. Okay.
Like he's 3.5.
Yeah. It's soccer picture day. Saturday morning soccer league. You show up. It's the 3-year-olds. They're kicking the ball, whatever. But on this particular day, you show up and you show up 10 minutes early. We're going to take a team picture. Oh my gosh.
It was his worst day. It was very embarrassing. He was having a meltdown. And refusing to take this picture.
Unbelievable. I mean, so we had to leave. He missed the game.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to put him in the car. He screamed the whole way home. We got home. He still was screaming.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And it was like, but after on the field, like 5, 6, 7 minutes of this, it's like, I remember telling you, I was like, let's just get out. I mean, why? What are we doing?
It was definitely, I mean, he's almost 17 and it was his worst day ever.
His worst day on earth. It came out of nowhere. It ended just as fast as it came on. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. It's funny how there's some days you'll always remember. I remember going like, who is this kid? Like, what is going on?
It was very weird.
Very weird. There must have been some trigger that, he obviously couldn't explain to us or whatever it was. But yeah, so, you just have to make decisions, I think, at times where it's like, why? Just get out of there.
Yeah.
We'll try again later.
That is so funny because I will never forget that day.
Oh, it was unbelievable. But another part too of the dentist thing, and this really is for anything, is that we were able to prep him pretty good. You actually had him watching videos that morning, of things that had to do with teeth and what the dentist would be doing and stuff. And I remember honestly when our therapist, they started and I think, did they call it a vision board?
They do have vision boards, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing, right? So it's like, hey, tomorrow we're going to go here, and it's a picture of your school. And then we're going to come here, and it's home. And then we're going to do this, and it's like a shower.
Yeah.
It's very, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, is that really, come on. Is that, it prepared him for what's happening. And he would look at it at night, and he would look at it in the morning. And then same thing now with YouTube videos of the dentist. Hey, this is what the dentist is going to be doing. And then they're going to do this, they're going to do that. It really got him to a place of understanding. It wasn't a surprise. He wasn't caught off guard. Now, he may have been thinking, I don't want to do this, but at least he was mentally prepared for this is what we're going to try and do.
Well, and I showed him probably 3 different videos because they're all different,
Yeah.
But it's really important. I mean, they don't understand everything, so you have to teach them. And even looking at a video is helping them understand what they're about to walk into.
Yeah, and we do it with Christmas. So I got to tell people, Christmas for us really starts like in November, because you have to have videos of like the songs, because people's decorations are going up. The other kids are talking about it. TV commercials are doing nothing but playing Christmas music and showing Christmas, buying for Christmas presents, stuff like that. So, that's how this year we kind of got him into the spirit. Same thing for Halloween. We did that. He would watch the little Halloween cartoons a month ahead of time, because people's decorations were going up and they were advertising costumes and stuff. So you just had to get them to a place of being aware of the environment, of what's going to happen. What are you going to start seeing? What are people going to start talking about? And you just have to do that. I mean, I think we did that early on, even with going to the beach. We would take a beach day. And remember, back in the day, his therapist would go with us. So the night before, we would say, Cal, where are we going? And he would point to the picture and say, beach.
Yep.
And but you had to get them to understand. You had to help them get there. You had to help them cross the bridge of where we're going to go and what we're going to try and do. And it takes that stuff. And you don't know if for the rest of his life. For me, if that's going to benefit him the rest of his life by showing him a video of what we're going to do, I think that's great. We took him to one baseball game, and we showed him the day before. Hey, look, we're going to go to a baseball game. He doesn't know what a baseball game is. He didn't know what it was. Yeah. But we showed him a picture of a crowd, of a stadium, of people playing baseball, and he said baseball. I don't know how much it helped or didn't help, whatever, but we had a great time.
Yeah, it's just prepping, you know?
That's
doing the prep.
Yeah, you don't know what they're going to get or not get out of it. But the reality is that I think it's pretty cool to be able to take some time to do that, to get them a little bit more at peace.
Yeah, and you were talking about, like, with swimming and all that, staying in one place.
Yeah.
Like the guy that you're talking to, And that's kind of the same place with the dentist. Like, I hadn't taken him to the dentist in quite some time, and I was putting it off for a while. And I was anxious about going, but then he had a great time.
Yeah. Well, we get lucky because he loves water. It's all he'll drink. And so,
well, that's why he hasn't had to have any cavities filled,
because it's all he will drink. He will not drink juice. He's experimented with milk, but it's kind of like a sip here, a sip there. He doesn't crave it or ask for it. He'll take a little sip of it, but
and milk has a lot of sugar.
Well, that's why I'm saying. So, yeah. That's why I'm saying. Yeah. Oh, that's the biggest. People don't realize that. I mean, when I was growing up, milk was like, they were just, if you drink milk, you'll live forever. But then you look at how much sugar is being pumped in milk. And now they have a bunch of low sugar milks and stuff like that because you need it. But the water is really what saves his teeth, because he loves water. I mean, does he drink a gallon a day maybe?
Oh, yeah. He drinks a ton of water.
Well, I mean, he just loves water. So we're really lucky with that. I mean, it's like we're really lucky with that. That's why I think even, any parents who have kids now, I was talking with a dad or online. He was saying, he's like, the biggest mistake we ever made was give our kids juices when they were little, because then his kid was diagnosed with autism, and it's all that he'll drink is juice, because it's all he knew. So they won't switch it, and so it's like that's all he'll drink is juice. And we gave Cal. I mean, our kids drink a lot of water, so we gave him water, and it's like, because honestly, all you need is water. The other stuff you don't need because it's all from water.
Right.
So we got lucky that all we really gave him was water. We didn't really give him juices and stuff like that. And so now, because part of autism, it's a lot of patterns. It's like he just getting water. So it's all he wants.
Right.
And so we're really lucky with that.
Well, he doesn't eat a lot of sugar either. I mean, he'll have a cookie every now and then, but like as far as like choking and stuff with him, it's very serious. So he doesn't do gummies or anything like the fruit snacks.
Yeah, no, but that's why it's like you almost have to really start early, because if you were to regress or get an autism diagnosis, it's almost like what that early pattern, some of that can stick, and it's hard to change. I mean, this dad was saying, like, my son will not drink water. He'll never drink water.
Jeez.
Yeah. And so, that's going to be a hard thing to change.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a really hard thing to change. Real quick, because you said Cookie, I want to thank Mayor Cookie Kennedy. I'm looking at my award here, which is really cool. She's the mayor of Indian Rocks Beach. And she gave me, first off, Cookie's done a great job with autism awareness in Indian Rocks Beach. They created an Autism Awareness Day. She did a partnership with the fire chief there, and they've got a whole fire truck dedicated to autism awareness. It's really cool. But she gave me an award for some of the advocacy stuff that you and I have been working on, and I went to the Barrier Island Government Council and presented some ideas to them. which I'll actually talk about a little bit later on here in the show. But I wanted to thank Mayor Kennedy, and she's moving on to, she has a campaign now running for Pinellas County Commissioner, but a very thoughtful woman, great leader, great communicator. And, she took her time to say, hey, we appreciate your work and what you're doing. And so I just wanted to tell her thanks. And, I think it's really cool that we finally have some candidates. And I mean, she was elected when she obviously, did the work that she did for Indian Rocks Beach. But we have people now that are starting to ask questions, that are starting to take action, and that are really saying, hey, what do you need, special needs community? What do you need? What are we not doing? What can we do that we're not?
Yeah.
And so I think that's really, really cool.
It is cool. Congratulations, too. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. It's like we don't do this for that, but then somebody recognizes you and you're like, well, geez, that feels pretty good. Thanks. It's like, I really appreciate it. We're actually going to have some segments, too, with Mayor Cookie Kennedy upcoming later this spring and through the summer as her campaign rolls on. But she's really had some great ideas to help the special needs community. And, it's just such an underserved, I don't know what the word is, maybe a priority, I guess. There's so much more that can be done. And it's not even that it takes a lot of money. It just takes a little bit of critical thinking. And, she's been willing to sit down and have these conversations and come up with ideas and problem solve and critically think. And so really looking forward to that. This is kind of like my summer of let's get things done. Let's get things done. I feel like I have a good enough perspective generally. And it's like, yeah, and that took a few years to figure out, but now I'm like, okay, well, let's actually get things done. And it's like any cause you have in your life, there is a time for critical thinking, for reasoning, for communication, and then at some point, all that just has to be followed up by action, right? It's like at some point, something just has to get done. I mean, you gotta make something happen. Like you gotta heat up the process. And so that's kind of my goal for this summer and getting into the fall is like getting actionable things started. And again, if you're working on things or you have ideas in this space or there's something needed, we are always welcoming for new conversations. And again, dailyautism.com to connect with us. All of our social channels are there, email, everything, dailyautism.com. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to is meeting new people this summer, getting things done, exchanging ideas, traveling to places and seeing like what is being done, what hasn't been done, and all of that stuff. So really excited. Again, dailyautism.com. Also really excited next week on the radio show and on all of our podcast channels, we are going to have a conversation. I'm like really excited about this with Dr. Young from Young Foundational Health Center. He, it's funny. Somebody had reached out to me and said, listen, you have to look at what Dr. Young's doing. He's in Largo, right? And it's Young Foundational Health Center, youngfoundationalhealth.com, youngfoundationalhealth.com. He's got this great video, this great YouTube video about autism. And I'm not going to go into it because I really kind of want everybody to hear it, from him and just the way he really explains it. But just to give you some context, he kind of looked at what are the similarities of the autistic person, because we hear about, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, and maybe it's this. And then, there's definitely some parts of that where it's like that could be some of the ingredients. But what Dr. Young did, which I just thought was remarkable, was that let's find like the absolute commonalities in the body. What's going on in the brain, which is our electrical system. And so he's got some great research, some great perspective, but most importantly, great results. And so I'm really excited to talk with him next week. We're going to have a great conversation. And that'll be across all of our social channels, the video, and of course the audio on the radio show, our radio shows and our podcast channels. So that's Dr. Young next week, youngfoundationalhealth.com. That's in Largo, Florida. So just really down the street from many of you listening here across the Gulf Coast of Florida. And even, we have a large national audience that continues to grow. We're very excited about that. But I would encourage you to research Dr. Young and listen to his perspectives, talking about, just foundational health and just talking about, the cell and natural solutions and everything. youngfoundationalhealth.com. That'll be next week. These are the conversations, honestly, that I live for, because, it gets to the point where I think parents, we go through this phase. And for me, really, it was like a year and a half. And it was just Google this, Google that, Google this, Google that. And you just, people call it like a rabbit hole. I mean, it was like a rabbit maze. I mean, I couldn't find my way out. And so it's like, it's just nice to hear people with modern perspectives, modern research, and really talking about things that you just don't hear a lot about. So we're going to do that next week. And again, I'd love your feedback after next week's show when we speak to Dr. Young, again, dailyautism.com. So we are really, really excited for that. Also, I want to talk about the Somos. This is unbelievable. And you've probably seen our videos across our social media channels. But this is the sensory swing and hammock. The sensory swing and hammock. Now, I say hammock because we've all seen a sensory swing. But this turns right into a hammock, and it's got this built-in pillow. See, I had never seen that before. I've never seen the built-in pillow. And when we put it up, really easy to assemble. And by the way, it comes with everything, which I've been duped into this, where you'll buy something and you get the box and you're like, awesome. We've told Cal that this is coming and we're all excited. And then you open it and then there's I call it the chart of doom. And it's, here's what's included, here's what's not included. Basically, here's what you have to go to the store and get. And I'm like, wait a minute. I ordered this kit, and you're telling me that, like, it's not all there? Yeah, well, not with this, not with the Somos sensory swing. But anyway, we've got videos. We put it right in our living room. My friend's like, "What are you guys doing?" I said, "Listen, my house kind of looks like a Chuck E. Cheese anyway, but this is like the area where he loves to be with his siblings." So we put up the Somos sensory swing, and he really uses it as the hammock. And I'm telling you, his routine now is in the morning. He does a good 7 to 12 minutes, but then at night, it's a good 25 to 35 minutes. And it is like peace, relaxing. He'll kind of hum sometimes, like to the rhythm of the swing. And that's routine. Like, that doesn't count in the middle of the day when he'll say, "My swing, please." And he just, we were in the pool the other day, and we got out, dried off, gave him a shower, and whatever was going on in the pool and kind of working his, vestibular system by the floating and everything, he needed that regulation in his swing. So go to dailyautism.com. The swing is on sale now. There is a sale going on, and it's just a phenomenal product. Like I said, the quality's great. It comes with everything. We put it up. It took us about 15, 18, 20 minutes to put it right in the ceiling. Way easier than I thought. I'm like, are we have to hire like a contracting crew? No. But you can use this, if you have like a playroom, you can use this in your bedroom. I said mine's in my living room. I've seen people on their website that put this swing outside. And if you live in a climate that makes sense, I think that is absolutely awesome. So again, everything's included: the Somos sensory swing and hammock with that built-in pillow. It's really interesting because he gets into the, I call it the cocoon. It looks like he's in this cocoon, and he just knows. He knew what the pillow was for, like what end to get in on the pillow. It's really, really neat. So dailyautism.com, Somos sensory swing and hammock. It's really designed for some of the cooler moments inside of a house. We had another day, like 2 weeks ago, we had a rare day of rain, and he spent a lot of time in that swing. He was reading a book, and then at one time he just was hanging out. He was just sort of hanging out in there, relaxing, and it was really peaceful. It's really, really neat to see. So check that out at dailyautism.com and grab that discount, again, through our website. Also, our friends at the original Krabby Bill's, Indian Rocks Beach, Florida. Hey, happy anniversary. They are they've been in business, listen to this, over 40 years, 40 plus years. They're having a great celebration coming up next weekend. It's the last weekend in the 25th, 26th. Yes, that weekend. And it's like they are the ultimate in supporters of autism awareness. They're just fantastic. They're having a lot of specials. And again, with so much of our audience here on the Gulf Coast of Florida, but so much of our audience growing nationally and internationally, we love that. And inevitably, so many people come to Florida for vacation. So I say go to Indian Rocks Beach, just a little bit south of Clearwater Beach, and a bit north of St. Pete Beach, and you'll find Krabby Bill's. Great place, amazing food. You feel like you've been taken to an island, a Caribbean island, and you never want to leave. So thank you for your support, Original Krabby Bill's. Also, the Lift Academy. This is the neurodiverse school, but it is the gold standard world class. Lift Academy, liftfl.org. They are having a huge event. It is called Lift Your Spirits, coming up in May. So there is time to get tickets, to become sponsors. They've been doing this event for a long time. They've got this brand new campus in Clearwater. It is remarkable. The only thing more remarkable really is the work that they do and the people that they have doing it. Really is an unbelievable setup that they've set up. The story behind Lift Academy is incredible. So lift your spirits. Go to liftfl.org and get all the details, how you can either be a part of it or how you can help. Show you are an autism awareness partner, either yourself, your business. But again, phenomenal event, phenomenal people. That is the Lift Academy. Technology North, my buddy Ling, he's the CEO, and they're in Canada. But we're all going to hear about Ling and Technology North very soon, because what he's developed is really revolutionary by really initially employing kids who are on the autism spectrum, young adults, I should say. But Ling has really gone next level. He has created a pathway for these young adults to really have their own environment, have a social structure, make friends, find new interests, and all through working and getting up and having meaning and purpose. It's great for these young adults on the spectrum. It's also great for their families, many of whom probably never thought that they were going to be able to go every day and contribute to something that has, again, meaning and purpose in their community. So really appreciative for what Ling has done. And as I've said this time and time again, I was on LinkedIn the other day talking on somebody's podcast, and I said, you're just going to hear a lot about Ling because of his dedication to the space, because of obviously inspired by his son. And so it's just incredible what he's done with Technology North. Also, Angel Sense. This is assistive technology for autism and special needs. So you think about a GPS tracker, but it's so much more than that. The ability to tap in, listen to the environment, communicate. There are so many features for this. The device is free. That includes the watch is also free in honor of Autism Awareness Month. Angelsense.com. They also they have different subscription plans, and they also have some funding options for those who may need help funding, all available on their website, angelsense.com. And our friends at Aeroflow Urology, you may qualify for free diapers. As we know, many kids on the autism spectrum cannot be potty trained until later in life, and there are some that it doesn't happen for them. And so there's a real need for diapers and incontinence products. So go to dailyautism.com, click on the Aeroflow Urology button. You can see if you qualify for free diapers. That's billed through Medicaid in really 2 minutes. So check that out. Also, Begin Health prebiotics. Not probiotics, because that's what I thought initially, but actually prebiotics. And that is something that I didn't know about, but it is so important for our kids on the autism spectrum to get in their tummies. And it absolutely is something that is needed to basically put it like this. The prebiotics feed the probiotics. I'm really just trying to make this simple. It obviously is more complicated than that, but that's kind of how I'm articulating it. But the same molecular structure as breast milk. It's really good. Begin Health, the growing up prebiotics, the results for Cal have been great. He had a lot of problems with constipation, being backed up. At one point, I've told this story a lot. We actually had to call 911. He was having what looked to be some type of a seizure. They did scans, and they said, my goodness, he is backed up like you wouldn't believe. And we had no idea. So we didn't want that to happen again. So again, dailyautism.com to grab our discount for those Begin Health products, dailyautism.com. For that. And finally, I want to thank Fun Factory Sensory Gym. They made it happen for my sensory studio, which is our studio in Seminole, Florida. Great people. They do great work for families and businesses who have kids or serve families across the spectrum. Thank you, Fun Factory Sensory Gym. Again, we are online 24/7 at dailyautism.com, and we'd love to connect. Whatever social media that is kind of native to you, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and we're on nearly 20 podcast platforms as well with our weekly podcast and inevitably these radio shows that also get put on our digital platforms as well. We'd love your feedback. We'd love your questions, your comments, everything. And again, we just appreciate you listening to us. And we'll see you online at dailyautism.com.